Warning. It is the opinion of the Forestry Productions LLC and the Working Perspectives podcast that we should inform you that some of the language used in this recording could possibly be considered offensive. You have been warned, so if you decide to listen to the recording, then don't complain about the language. Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk to some real people about some real things, live real lives, doing real stuff. This is the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied today by the NDub posse of NDub Justin Richardson, Strong Stem Steve Cabot, and Eazy-E Eric Zebluim. NDub, part 2 of Eazy-E. How you doing, my man?
Doing good. I'm excited. This is fun.
This is fun. Strong Stem, part 2 of Eazy-E. We knew it was going to happen. It's too much goodness for one show. What are you thinking, my man?
What I'm thinking is I probably shouldn't be on here because there's enough North Wales, and I got 2 other guys that ride hard for us. 2 of my might as well be my little brothers. Yeah, I mean, what am I doing here? What the fuck am I doing?
Hey, man, you're supposed to be here. We ride together, fam. That's this show, bro. Nice. So, all right. Well, in case you guys are wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can have us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast, and you can join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And please just get her to leave me the hell alone. Like and subscribe so my wife stops beating the shit out of me for doing the show. All right, let's get this thing started. Let's go.
It's all objective to be effective by voicing societies. Working perspective, exploring your day and how you get paid. Launching a new episode every Tuesday. Your day can transform while we inform with new episodes available on every platform. So check out our line and how we get live, then do us a solid. Share and subscribe. We're just sharing. We're just sharing. We're just sharing. Working perspectives.
All right, so we're back for part 2 of the Eric Zebluim experience. It looks like, I mean, this is the third NDub guy to get a 2-part series on this show. I don't know what we got going on. I mean, Brandon's been on twice.
Nobody's life is not complicated in North Wales, all right? Everyone's gone through some shit. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's very true. But nice. So we're back with part 2 of Eazy-E. I'm going to get right into it. So from where we left off, we told the story of the poison ivy all over. And one question the listeners did want to know this, Eric, sorry to do this, but you whacked it when you had poison ivy. You whacked it, didn't you? You had the poison ivy whack.
Are you asking if that was the source of getting poison ivy there?
No, that could have been, but I think when you had it down there, you could not resist like all the scratching. You're just like, I'm 17, I'm just gonna whack, just gonna fucking get the demon out of me.
Hell yeah.
No, I don't think I was miserable.
I think that bad. You couldn't fucking whack. Are you fucking?
No, we weren't. My mind was not there. There was a lot of anger.
Yeah.
A lot of fury.
Right.
But it was not.
We talked
wasn't
on
dealt with like that.
Yeah. You can jerk out a lot of pain. You can jerk out a lot of anger. You can jerk out a lot of hate. You can really jerk out a lot, but you can't jerk out poison ivy.
Exactly.
Nope.
Exactly.
No, every dog has its day. There you go. Nice. So, okay. So let's keep it going. So you, after leaving McDonald's and, that you weren't long for that one, you ended up working at.
He was sad.
Yeah. You ended up working.
Took a huge hit.
Yeah. That was a big one. Yeah.
Where'd that 13-year-old go that used to work? I need him to go get me a pack of cigs.
Yeah. So
honestly, at that time, we probably just didn't show up. Like I said, like a bunch of us worked there, and it was just like we just phased out. We're like, all right, see, we're going back to 8th and Church.
Dude,
Andrew Ritchie had McDonald's dollars anyway.
Dude, that's the worst day of the fucking manager smoking heaters life when you guys didn't show up. Legit, the worst day of his life.
I think Trav rocked out longer than anybody, but Trav had a
Hell
really
yeah.
good work ethic when he was younger. Like, cause Trav was at Papa John's, like before Papa John's blew up. That's how we got the name Papa Skibit.
Papa's
Skip
But he had a really good work ethic. So I think Trav was the last one to leave.
Right.
McDonald's over there.
But dude, you can't. I mean, working at McDonald's long term, that's a recipe for disaster. Some people would say. So, but everyone has to have a job. Everyone has to do
Those
their thing.
people suck that say that. Fuck that.
Yeah. No, dude. Hey, man. At least they're working. So God bless them. Yeah, respect. So okay. So then from McDonald's, you leave there and you would go to Center Point Pond. Am I right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell
I don't know
yeah,
if that's,
Bart.
and I don't know if this is necessarily the order of which these jobs
Right.
occurred, but I do
Okay.
know. So Center Point Pond is located over in like Center Point down Valley Forge Road.
Like skip back area.
Yeah, skip back.
Yep.
So what it is, there's a pond there that's stocked with fish, like bass
Hell yeah.
and koi and all kinds of stuff. And then they also sell, like if you have a pond in your backyard, they sell like equipment. So like pumps and the fish and the plants and stuff
Aerators.
like that. The other thing is that's really cool is people can actually go there and fish. So part of
Bro,
my
that's right. It's one
job,
of those paid things, right, Bart?
yeah, part of my job, and Kevin worked there with me too, was that we would train people, we would like talk to people and educate them on pond life and fishing and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there would be special needs people would go there and fish. They might do
Oh.
like a little thing there. It was awesome.
That's
Little
great.
kids would have birthday parties there. We'd be able to teach them about the pond life too. And then
Nice.
actually, like elderly people would go there as well. Like
Yeah.
they would be in like a wheelchair or something. They would come to the pond. They would fish. We'd let them catch. So all of them. We would walk them through the process of like fishing and educate them on that. And then
Yeah,
the
and
other thing-
unlike anywhere else, the Zebluim family, when I say might as well be their last name might as well be Dance, all three of the Zebluim brothers can fish like any human you've ever met. They will dominate the fishing game. So these people were getting this is like going to pet crocodiles and Steve Irwin is your fucking tour guide, right?
Oh,
Like
for
the Zebluim brothers to be able to be any one of them. I don't care if it's Alex, Eric, Kevin, any one of them is your guide for fishing. Oh, you in for the real deal.
So is fishing that big of a deal in your family?
Oh
Ethan?
my God.
Really?
Yeah, so it was a huge bonding thing between us and our dad, actually, who I mentioned on the last show.
That's awesome.
So like
Yeah.
one of the core things that we used to do with him, like when we would be seeing him and stuff when we were younger, was we would do a lot of fishing. And it was just embedded in us. Like, we would just go fishing with dad. We went all over the place, Nockamix and Green Lane, all these places.
Yeah.
So it's a huge part of our life. My older brother, Kevin, is still a huge, really big into fishing.
Your cousin is?
Do you think that like there's like maybe like a connection of like a long like like when you are fishing, it's like a remembrance of a father figure kind of thing,
course.
and like
100%.
yeah,
Of course.
Yeah,
Hell
100%.
Hell yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Hell
impossible for me to go fishing and not think of my dad. And like that's also a bond that Kevin, and Alex have. And it's like an unspoken
do.
bond that we have. And I mean, there was a lot of like we didn't get into this, but like all throughout our early childhood, like we would have birthday parties at Ralph Stover State Park.
Yep.
So we would like Ralph Stover State Park is on the border of like New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and there's
Okay.
like cliffs. Some people used to do the climbing there and stuff like that. But
Ralph Stover, you said?
Ralph
Yes.
Stover State Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're there, you're having birthday parties, right?
Yeah, and I mean, my mom would like take us to a park, and she'd be like, "All right, go ahead," and we would just be gone. And then even when we were in Hatfield, like I remember going with Kevin, like we would just literally go into the middle of like a stream or whatever body of water we thought had fish in it, and we would just go and try to find pockets of water and fish like all over the place. And then it's funny because when I got older, I started to experience like we would catch snapping turtles and stuff, but then like as I like got into my adulthood, I started to realize like I can't believe that we never got bit by a snapping turtle or snake. Like But we caught them. Like I used to catch snakes. Like Kevin would love to fish, like with the pole. I was like, I'm gonna net something. I'm gonna get like a frog, a snake, anything. And I would catch I caught one time we were camping. I caught a copperhead, and I didn't know it was a copperhead.
Bro,
We were at Fern Ridge Campground, and we were younger. So again, we're like camping, and my mom would just be like, whatever. Like she just knew. Like we
he's
were
like, go in the woods, fucking
and this
survive.
was like up
And
in
remember
the,
to take the woods. This is the Poconos.
Yeah,
This
and
is
we're
the
like-
fucking Poconos.
we're
So
like
you're in
10
like the forest.
we're like 10, 11. Like me and Kevin did not care. Like me and Kevin were out. Like, see
Yeah.
ya. And we were out one time, and I was with my younger brother Alex, and there was a baby snake. So like Steve Irwin was like big crocodile hunter and stuff like that.
Legend.
So I'm joking around, and I always caught snakes. So like I was very comfortable around a snake, around even a snapping turtle stuff.
Because you're a human mongoose, but whatever. Go ahead, keep going.
And so there was this baby snake, and it hasn't like so. Fun fact: baby copperheads don't develop their patterns and everything until they're a little bit bigger. Like you can't really.
I don't know if that's a
can't
fun
really
fact. That's kind of scares the shit out of me. I think I'm picking up a gardener. I'm about to
Nah.
get bit by a diamondback.
Yo.
I'll tell you the fun in it. All right. So I'm playing around with this snake, and to me, I'm thinking like northern water snake, like no big deal, whatever.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
literally have this baby snake, and I'm like, look at its fangs, like I'm joking. It's like an overly aggressive baby snake, and I'm like, man, I'm like this, and I pull it straight, right? So like I'm like noted, okay, baby snake, you're a little feisty. And,
Aggressive.
so Alex and I, it's like, cool, I caught a snake. Alex and I were at Fern Ridge, and we're like away from all the cabins and the campground and everything. So we put this in like a styrofoam bait bucket, and we take it back up to the camp, right? So we have a baby copperhead, unbeknownst to us, in this thing, and we're taking it back up to the camp. And everybody from like my mom used to go camping with like these big groups of like other families.
Mhm.
And they're all like, oh, let's see it. Oh, cool. And a park ranger comes up, and I'll never forget that. I must have been like 11, 10. And he's like, oh, like he comes, he's like, oh my God, who caught this snake? And like, why would you bring that here? And we're like, what? We're like, what's wrong? And he's like, that's a copperhead. He's like, put the lid on. He like steps back, and he's all angry. And he proceeds to tell me, he's like, go get rid of it. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, you're the professional, you're gonna take it. He was like, I'm not touching that. He's like, you go take that wherever you found it from. He's like, get that far away from the campground. And I was just like, all right, pussy, whatever.
You're like,
You know
this
what I mean?
isn't
Like,
a snake. This is my pet Snips.
and then
You know?
and then my younger brother's like, it almost bit him. He was pretending to be Steve Irwin. I'm like, Alex, shut the fuck up. You know
Like,
what I mean?
hey, park ranger
But-
dork, watch this.
And
Yeah.
baby copperheads have plenty of venom to kill you.
Oh.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
time.
Jesus.
Real quick.
Yeah. So and I would have been screwed. It would have been over.
Dude, could you imagine your mom? Like, she gets this campground and she's just like, fucking go. If you survive, great. If not, one
Yeah.
less mouth to feed. You know
They
what
really
I mean?
tested
Like,
that whole survival thing, though.
oh,
We were
for
good, man.
sure.
Me, if it was just me and Kevin, I'd never flinch. We were cool. We were getting back. But if Alex was 3 years younger, so you know he was
Yeah,
Liability.
he could be a liability. you
Yeah.
know, we'd have to leave him.
Dude, I remember one time I was at Nakamixon State Park, and I was fishing with my dad, and we would go to this spot. It was like under the bridge that like there's this like bridge you'd have to cross before you would like it went over like the river that fed into the lake, and we'd have to cross it before you get to like, you know, like the campground area and the pool and all that stuff. So like we would park there and get out and go under the bridge and fish. And I remember like I was going along and there's these like big rocks, and I just see this snapping turtle that was huge, right? Like, dude, this thing is probably like maybe like, you know, like 14, 15 inches long, maybe like a foot wide. Like, it was massive, had spikes all over it. I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I tried to catch it with like the fish net. You know what I mean? Like the net
They
you would
snap it in
get.
half.
Oh, dude, he was like, dude, I was like, these things are slow. I could take care of it. It fucking, and I was like, you
Nah,
know,
yeah.
dude. And like the mouth was like, I was like, yow. Yeah, it would bite my finger clean off. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, didn't work. But
I
either
watched
way.
when we were young, we used to live next to so when we had first moved to Hatfield, we lived next to Hatfield Meatpacking. So if anybody remembers Hatfield
Yeah.
back in the day, there used to be a light blue farmhouse to the right of where the trucks used to park. So that road that now has like Dunkin' Donuts at the top of it and cuts into Hatfield Meatpacking.
Yeah.
That used to run all the way through. And we used to live in a light blue farmhouse. I think it was like 300 years old. It was part of the Underground Railroad or something crazy like that, I think.
Jesus, you and your fucking historical houses over here.
Yeah. And don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure there was something going on. I remember hearing, and look, I don't know. So maybe someone was fucking with us when we were kids, but I'm pretty sure that was like a historical house. It was super old. Yeah. And that pond next to it had like all the Hatfield Meatpacking runoff, and there was like an infestation of snapping turtles. And when we were young, so I'm in like 3rd grade when we lived there, I remember seeing we took a broomstick and this right in half, snapped it right in half, and I took note. I was like, oh, okay. I was like,
how big was the turtle?
Not that big, less than a
and
foot.
It's still fucking right in half, the bird.
Oh yeah, big. Yeah, snapping turtles are no joke. They get 100%. They're taking your finger right off.
Oh,
easy. Like even the baby ones will hurt you bad, really bad. Yeah.
Damn, that's fucking scary. Yeah,
fishing was a huge part. Huge
Yeah.
part of our life.
Hold on, while he's doing the fishing thing, I got one more interesting lead in for him to explain.
Okay.
I'm gonna build it and then I'll let him tell the actual story. So there was in North Wales, we had a large manufacturing company that was called Leeds and Northrop, right? Giant property. Now it's owned by Merck, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, right? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It was a large abandoned building when we were growing up. So it was like a fucking party spot for us, right?
Yeah.
But they had this old pond out back that obviously all the North Wales kids, we went in there to smoke weed and break windows and do dickhead shit, right?
Yeah.
The Zebluims went there to fish, right? Because they had this pond. They didn't care about the dickhead shit, even though the dickhead shit was fun. Fishing was more of their thing, right?
Yeah.
So they go fish. And while we're fishing, we find this mysterious little liquid.
Yeah.
So Bart, go from there and explain to what happened when you told your teachers and what they found out about.
Is this like the fucking the secret of the ooze kind of thing? Gimmick, what's going on?
Pretty close. Yes. It might have to deal. I mean, maybe that's why we're extra athletic. No, it's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's why you guys are so humble.
It was mercury. So we were sitting there fishing. It was just a puddle of mercury.
Pile.
We're like, oh, this is so cool. Look at it. We're playing with it.
Trying to touch it, it moves.
Yo, that pond, I'm pretty sure that pond had like a large amount of mercury in it because I don't know if you remember this, Steve, but I'm pretty sure it was Kevin caught a fish out of that. And it was like a silver fish. And I don't mean like a bass silver. Like this is like, I've been swimming in a chemical my whole life, silver fish. It was like this bizarre fish that Kevin caught. Yeah.
Dude.
It was a weird little pond behind a large manufacturing company that put a lot of their waste into this little like fucking hole. Now when Merck bought it, they covered it up and filled it in and got rid of all the water and all that shit. But I'll never forget going back and telling one of the North Wales elementary school teachers about this mercury and them losing their fucking marbles. Like, whoa, what were you guys playing with? We were like, yeah, we were going to rub the fish in it and see what happened. They were like,
they're like, God, you guys are stupid enough already. Don't be playing with mercury. Golly, go play with the cheat. Cool, dude, that's cool. I would love if that thing would have stayed there and someone like planted tomatoes there and then ate them, and now that's fucking Superman. You know what I mean? Or
and now I
would have just died.
3-2-40. Now I run a 3-2-40.
Yeah. Dude, that would have been the fucking best. So nice. So all right, so let's keep it moving. Okay, so you're done. You leave the center pond, right? And you're having a good time there. Then you would work as like.
Now, hold on, Matt. Did you ask him why we left? I don't even know this. Why did you leave? What happened?
Okay, with Center Pond? What happened with Center Pond?
Oh, I was a young asshole and irresponsible. You know what I mean? The owners of that pond are like extremely nice people.
I bet.
Extremely nice people. Very, very, very nice family. And you know, they were familiar with my mom and they gave me a chance to work there and stuff like that. But you know, I didn't have any sense of direction in life or accountability and responsibility like embedded in my being.
Say less, cuz.
Yeah, I was showing up late and stuff like that, or like calling out. You know, I'm a teenager and
say less.
Pretty much, you know, wasn't the ideal way for me to do it, but you know, I was doing the best I could. But they're super nice people, yeah. So that's why I ended up getting fired, or probably like a combination of both. But I mean, they should have fired me probably like 10 times over.
Yeah.
Awesome
Yeah.
place though. Really good
Nice.
people.
So okay, so you leave there. How old were you when you left there? Like what age?
Maybe 15, 16,
So
something like that. Probably
would
like
you
16.
had already started like experimenting with drugs and things like that at this time? And alcohol?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got into
He's
that.
from North Wales.
Yeah, we got
so-
out early.
Yeah, you guys are starting at like the age of 7. You know, you're like, look, 2nd grade, you should already have a habit by now, guys. Come on, let's go here.
Our dare, we had a different kind of dare program.
You guys like, I dare you to do some drugs, you fucking pussy.
I told you.
Merck ran the dare program. They were experimenting on us. You know? It's like a case study. No, I'm
The
joking,
head
I'm
chief
joking.
of police in North Wales was our dare teacher. I'm not going to throw his name out there, but he was the dare teacher, and he was friends with my dad because it was a small community. He used to go fishing on like deep sea things, and I'd see him blazing cigarettes and chugging beers. This guy's fucking wasted. And on Tuesday morning, he rolls into my fucking 4th grade class like, don't smoke cigarettes, don't drink. And I'm like, whoa. This weekend, I saw you super fucked up smoking 2 packs.
Oh my God.
Remember
what were you gonna say?
they would burn that thing to make it smell like marijuana in the dare program, and Northwest Elementary.
What?
This is what it smells like.
I don't even remember that.
They would burn this
I
fake
do.
thing.
Did
and
it
they'd be
smell
"This
like
is what
it?"
it's I mean, I don't
Hell
remember
no.
from like
Hell
one to
no,
the
it didn't
other.
smell like
I don't
shit.
think it did.
Can
Yeah.
we
It
look
like
that up?
leaves.
Let's see. What did they look? Google. What did they burn? What did the dare program burn to replicate the
Because
smell?
I remember that. And
It
again,
did.
we grew up in North Wales where a lot of the older men, Mr. Zig, Big Zig, are people with blazed
Yeah.
trees right in front of you. So I knew what
Oh,
trees
shit.
smelled like. Get the fuck out of my face with this bullshit.
Yeah, the dare program is fucking silly, yo.
All right.
Trying to
remember-
incite you with that dumbass bear.
All right. No.
Are you looking up what it
Yeah.
is?
Yeah, I can't
I
find
thought so.
it. They used to. It was like it looked like a little like pill.
It looked like an
looking thing.
incense kind of. Yeah, like a
Yeah,
little
and
fat
he-
little piece
I
of
remember.
shit.
I remember him, or it was Hacker lit it.
I said we wouldn't say his name. But hell yeah, Barry, fuck you, faggot.
Yeah, what if some little kid was like, no, it smells like this. Smell my shirt. No, it smells like this. Oh man.
You got young Chuck D pulls a little sack out of his school bag, like, nah, I stole this from my pops. This is what it smells like, cuz.
Yeah. He's like, it doesn't smell like that, guys. It should smell like this. Yeah. So, okay. I don't know what the fucking thing was. So either way, so let's keep it moving. So you had already started like experimenting things and stuff like that with drugs, and then you would leave the Center Point Pond, and then you started working as a dishwasher, and you would work at a dishwasher like at a couple places kind of all around, and you would do like this in your early 20s almost. So like, where were you working as a dishwasher? And like, and I'm not trying to say this like there's nothing wrong with being a dishwasher. I've worked at a ton of restaurants and things like that. Dude, those are some of the hardest fucking working guys. They have the toughest job. They're there. They're working the whole time. They're there all night. That's a tough fucking job. And you, from what we talked about, what you talked about in the pre-show, is like you would find some solace and like some kind of comfort in just doing the dishes and things like that. So you really kind of like being a dishwasher and stuff. So where were you working, and like how did you like it and like get into it and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that my first dishwashing job was at Astor Diner.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Astor
Hell
Diner.
yeah, Park.
And extremely overwhelming for a young kid to come into like a booming diner right on the outskirts, like on the outskirts of the metropolis. And you know, and like I was young and I went in there and tried. So I was like real young when I had that job. Maybe like 14 years old when I had that. It might have even been before Center Point Pond. But eventually I worked for like I can't even remember, probably like Ruby Tuesdays, like all, you know, Montgomeryville area. All those little restaurants. I would try to hold a job there, but you know, we kind of touched on it. But my you know, I was involved with like drinking. Like I wasn't really experimenting with drugs. I smoked weed and got involved with that like in my like mid-teens, and also like drinking and stuff like that. It was like a common thing in our neighborhood. But it got the best of me in a way. It didn't get everybody else. But, you know, I would try to work. Like my mom would be like, yo, you should work. My stepdad would be like, yo, you should work. So going up through high school, I tried to get a job at some of those places. And then when I initially went to college for computational science, I think that's what it was. I forget, computer programming, stuff like that.
All
And
right.
that didn't really work out. So I would just like pick up a random job. But I was involved in other activities and stuff, like just basically partying. But I would be working at these places and I was good at dishwashing. It just fit my brain. Like my brain's just like that. Very quick, clean, get this done, OCD, boom, 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 get it over with.
Hell yeah.
And we had a little bit of fun, some of my boys worked with me, but I never really did it for a long time.
Yo, shout out to, I think there's a couple smoke shows from school that worked at Astro Diner, right? Did Colette work there and Jamie Lauer, didn't they work there?
I have zero recollection, and I probably worked there for 2 weeks, so I couldn't tell you. I just
Got him.
I mean, shout out. Those two were both smoke shows. So
Do you remember the vending machine in the bathroom at Astro Diner used to have like cologne, condoms, and the French tickler?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We went there when I was like 8 years old, and I saw this thing in the vending machine, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" No, I didn't have
Changed
money.
your life.
But
Changed your
from
life.
then, I remember being a kid, and anytime like I knew we were gonna go there, I like found quarters. I was like, I have to know what this fucking thing
He had an
is, right?
arsenal of them.
Yeah, like I came prepared.
Hell yeah, J-Dub.
Like,
It
I
had
gotta
a-
go to the- I think I was like 9. I was 9 or 10 because like I wasn't even like jerking off yet. Like I had no idea what this thing was, but I just had to buy it. It was like $1 in quarters. So like I found out we were going there. I like grabbed quarters real quick, hid them in my pocket, went to the bathroom alone, bought it, hid it in my pocket the whole time till I got home. And it's a condom with like spikes at the head of it.
Hell
It's
yeah.
crazy. And I have no idea. I'm in my room blowing it up like a big balloon.
Now is that kind of like Pavlov's law? Was that kind of like the dog salivate when he hears the bell? Like it's built into a young male who hasn't even whacked his dick yet or come once.
No idea.
He
what
knows
it
he
is.
sees some naughty shit on the bathroom wall, and he's like, I don't know what that is, but I need it in my life.
Yeah,
I need
like
it in my life.
when we all saw Doggy Style for the first time, we were all like, oh yeah, sign me up, yeah. Wherever you do that, I want that. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
No, fucking dude. So just to recap what you're saying, Justin.
Shout out Astro Diner.
At a diner specialized in breakfast, at a diner, you could
As a
go
young
into the
man.
men's restroom
and get the tickler.
You get the French tickler.
There was a vending machine that would
Yeah, it's like
sell
on the wall.
a vending machine on the wall that sold cologne.
Yeah, it'd be like a
That
packet of like
condoms.
shitty cologne.
Condoms, cologne, like probably like Brute or
I
something.
mean, it's a triple play. That's a fucking triple play in my mind.
Yeah,
Shout
it's
out
like a
Brute,
little
fan of the show, listen to the
plastic.
show.
Yeah, it's like a ketchup packet of like Aqua di Gio.
Hell yeah,
Whoa.
let's go.
That's not
Yo,
big.
Aqua-
Shout out
Aqua di
Giorgio
Gio.
Armani.
Dude,
Shout
that
out
was the
Armani.
gimmick. Bro, I had some Aqua di Gio. I
still
Aqua
have
di
some.
Gio.
Right now, I
Hell
have Aqua.
What was
That shit
Jean-Paul
still
Gaultier?
hits, Spark.
Do you
Yeah.
remember
That shit
Jean-Paul
still
Gaultier?
hits.
That was the fucking gimmick. Jean-Paul Gaultier. I do Coach now. I'm classy.
Polo Sport.
Sounds corny. I do Yves Saint Laurent. I'm poor.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
I guess Europeans cologne is a big thing. So Coach is apparently good. So I mean, my wife bought it. I don't care. Either way,
Which one? Coach Black, the black bottle?
yeah,
I have that downstairs. Good cologne.
it is good.
It is.
I'm
Shout
a
out-
cologne fanatic. So some people love shoes and stuff like that. I have
You're a
a good
cologne
shoe
guy?
collection and stuff, but I love cologne.
Yeah.
I'm with
Like,
you,
I'm not
Bart.
afraid to go buy. I bought like I think it's like a $280, $300 bottle of Tom Ford.
That
got-
stupid
why did you do
Yves
that?
Saint
I get it
Laurent's
for
like 180.
my buddy's wife works for one of the sub companies. I get the Tom Ford cologne for free.
Which
Damn,
one?
what-
Mandarino?
I got
Is
the
Tom
blue one.
Ford
Oh, you
that
can't see it.
good?
Is that Mandarino?
Put it
Yeah,
in
that's
front of your
exactly
it's
what
all
it
right.
is.
Put it in
Yeah.
front of your face,
Yeah,
Justin.
I know.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yep, now it's
Mandarino,
gone.
baby.
And
Now it's back. Now it's gone.
Why won't work?
Your
All
sign behind you's fucking it all up.
Whatever.
Stupid fucking
There you
ad
go.
placement. There it is.
What
There
is
you
that
go.
though? Is that like a deodorant stick? What is
It's
that?
That's a
Spray?
it's the
vibrator.
spray.
That's
Tom
stupid.
Ford cologne. I've
What
never
kind
even.
of poor shit? Yo, hold up, J.
Yo,
Oh,
Dub.
that's
You
a-
fucking,
Which
which bodega
you
did you
8
get
cent-
that from?
you
Yeah.
8-cent cheese slice motherfucker. You told us you had Tom Ford cologne and you pulled out the aerosol can you get at
That's what it
Marshall's.
is. It's the
The
spray.
fuck are you talking about?
It's the all over body spray.
Yeah,
Tom-
that's not the cologne.
Tom Ford Noir
No, it's still
Extreme
good,
for
though.
Men.
I have that too.
1.7 ounce is $130, right? For like a little gimmick, like a travel size. The Tom Ford Tobacco Vanilla for unisex is $250.
And
And
380. It's
what
like
is
380 for the
unisex?
3.4.
It's
the
a
3.4
UNI
ounce of that.
sex.
What do you mean?
Like you find a girl.
It's for
and
the fruits.
it's for both men and women.
I think that's 380 for a 3.4 ounce bottle of that.
Crazy.
Christ.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But wait, there's the cologne that they think a dude would be attracted, or I'm confused by this. Hold on. Girls smell it one certain way, and dudes smell another way. What is this fucking thing you're trying to explain?
It wears differently. The body chemistry is a huge part of all kinds of cologne.
The way it smells, right?
Yeah, so like your body, so like when you spray something on one person, it could wear differently on another. But there's a lot of unisex fragrances out there.
That's the most bullshit I've ever heard. What a false advertisement, full of shit. If I smell a broad that smells like a dude, the fuck out of my face.
You wouldn't know.
Now,
you wouldn't catch it if it's an unisex one. You would just be like, oh, it's a decent fragrance. Like I think Dolce & Gabbana light blue.
Eric, how are you?
No, it's not, because I have light blue. There's dudes and there's chick for light blue. It's not unisex. There's a light blue for females and a light blue for men.
But
light blue is not.
I was just guessing, but there are fragrances that are unisex.
Honestly,
I fucking hate this new world. You know what? I'm done. I fucking hate this new world with this unisex fucking faggot shit. I'm fucking out of here.
My wife was looking for something to get me for Christmas. I might say is Tom Ford Noir Extreme, like which one's the best one?
It's so potent, yo. I have a little bottle of it. It's like a half spray. It's the strongest clone I've ever like.
Is it good? Is it good though? Like Tom Ford is like a top one.
It's really expensive.
Sauvage is real good right now. It's SAUVAGE.
That's the Johnny Depp one.
Jimmy Choo Ice is a sleeper. Jimmy Choo Ice.
What about a little Versace, huh, kid?
Versace, the Dreamer's pretty decent.
All right. What about the vanilla, the tobacco vanilla from?
Go with it.
Yeah, is that a winner?
Tom Ford, right?
Tom Ford tobacco vanilla. Is that supposed to be pretty good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. So that's cologne talk with Eric Zebluim.
Yeah.
So nice. I didn't know you were a cologne connoisseur. Man,
I just love it. Yo, I'm honestly, listen, I'll tell you a funny thing about me. So if I'm out at like the grocery store and a lady could be like 74 years old, she'll walk by me.
And you sniff them like Joe Biden.
No, stop. but what I will do is I will start a conversation with her. I'll say, oh, that's a beautiful fragrance. What fragrance is that? What are you wearing? Yeah, all the time I do it. Yeah, I'm not afraid. Yeah, I just want to know. I want a database.
She's probably like, hey, young man, don't fucking smell me. All right, you fucking creep.
No,
how many people tell you to fuck off?
I've been doing this for 45 years. I'll ask anybody. Ask guys.
My husband got me this after he returned home from the war.
Yeah.
Matt said, how many people tell you to fuck off?
None. Yo, listen, I'm good with people. Nobody's ever said that to me.
I know, that was crazy, Matt. Why do you think this world sucks so much?
Nobody. Nobody said fuck off, you creep, ever.
No. And I'll ask for people's opinions when I buy Old Spice too. Like if I'm buying the Old Spice deodorant, I'll straight up ask them. I'll be like, excuse me. I'll be like, could you smell this? I'm just curious, like what you think of this. Yeah. Like Wolf Thorn or whatever they got.
I like the Wolf one.
Interesting. He says Wolf Thorn because the Zebluims are very similar to you, Matt, where the Zebluims they have a natural sweater. If you feel what I'm saying. These kids will grow hair.
Don't you even. All right. Don't you even. You want to get in the fucking sweater game with me, Zebluim? All right.
Yeah, I do. Steve, tell him. Tell him what'll happen.
Matt. He's covered. Listen to me. Listen to me.
All right.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Covered.
Listen to me. He's on par with you. They're on the same level as you.
Hey, us bros with back hair.
Yes, you guys should be on the same. Yeah.
I'm not up top here. I have a lower back.
Dude, I got it, dude. It's everywhere.
It's
everywhere.
The only thing the Zebluim's got a little bit of leeway with is they got light colored hair, where you got jet black, so it shows out real quick. The Zebluims, you don't notice till you get too close, and you're like, "Holy fuck, you guys are like a Furby."
Yeah. My leg hair get it like 4 inches long.
Oh, bro, were you one of those
dreadlocks on his legs?
Yeah. Were you one of those kids
arms.
too? Like I remember being in first grade, just having like fucking so much leg hair. And kids being like, "What is going on?" And I'm like,
in first grade?
Oh, bro.
You fucking baby bear. What's the matter with you?
Bro, for sure. I've been fucking, dude, just my whole life with hair. That's just the story of my life. My whole life with hair. Hey,
No,
I'll tell you what, I don't care. I mean, you know, if I got to take it here and like, you know, I don't care. As long
Matt,
as.
let me ask you something. Have you ever caught your belly hair on your belt buckle?
Stop it.
I'm dead serious. It's one of the most painful, annoying things ever. Like when I put
I've
on
never
a beater,
heard such wild shit.
Listen, when I put on a beater, I make sure like I always tuck my beater in.
So
Because if my beater
have you done this? Have you? So
you fucking weirdo.
It's a
have
horrible
you done this?
it's a horrible experience.
Have you done this? So this is. So
I gotta stop. What the fuck?
So have you done this where you're wearing like I'll sometimes if I have like mesh shorts that are too long, I'll fold them, right? And there's been times where like I'll fold them and like I'll pull a hair while I'm folding the shorts and they get caught in the shorts.
Similar experience.
Yeah.
That's a similar experience.
Yeah.
I can also wear like a beater, a white tee, and like a nice Christmas sweater, and see my chest hair poke out.
Oh, if I don't have an undershirt, it's through everything. Yeah.
Like people will be like,
stop.
people like my wife will be like, "Oh, there's a hair on you." I'm like, "Ow!"
Ow, it's connected.
It's still attached. Yeah. No. Say
That's
like
wild.
yeah. It's if I don't wear an undershirt, it's coming. Yeah, it's just like it's coming through everything. Yeah.
I used to rag his brother about not wearing sleeves in the winter because he's a football guy, and he'd be at Lehigh in like a college game, and like all the linemen are the tough guys who don't wear shit, but all like the athletes wear like long sleeves. Or Kevin was like, I didn't wear that shit. I'm like, dog, God gave you a sweater.
Yeah.
You didn't have to put anything on. God gave you a sweater,
brother. Yeah. Yeah. No, dude. Do you ever? So I'm a Nair guy. I've experienced a lot. I will never fucking do the wax again ever.
Wait, you did the wax,
dude?
Yeah,
honestly,
I
literally.
And you lived?
It was literally torture. It was literally the worst experience of my life.
Oh,
literally. It was like. My wife was doing it. She's like, I know how to do it. I'll put the oil on, then I'll put the wax on, and it'll be easy. It'll be so easy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
sounds
like,
easy.
I'm like,
Sounds
all right.
very easy.
She does it the first time, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Dude, because she legit's like ripping off like a layer of skin because it's so fucking thick.
Yeah.
And I'm like bleeding and stuff. And I'm just like,
God.
I'm like, she's like, just let me try one more. Just let me try one more. You gotta wait for the oils to sink in. And I'm like, what?
Sink in. My hairs are sunk in.
I've never done that. I've never done like Nair or something like that. But I've like, when I was like younger, maybe late teens or like early 20s, I used to try like, I want that model look. I'm gonna shave everything.
Hell yeah.
And what people don't realize is when that hair grows back, it's so crazy. Like I'll be so itchy and it's painful, like stabbing through. It's all thick and like bolt. Because you gotta think of like a tree. Like if a tree's growing up a certain thing, like it's a firm base. Like my hair's like poking back through and like putting holes in my shirts.
It's like,
so, you can't do like a bare shave. You can.
He said like a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, dude. It does grow back stronger and thicker. Yeah.
You can't do like a shave.
Ugh,
like you just gotta trim.
Bro, plus two, and I will say I know everyone's really interested in this.
Yeah, I know.
35 God, I
like,
clearly don't know why it's so funny to me.
My hair it's so much that I have to fade it. Right, like I have to do a fade with my hair.
I know what you're talking
about.
Hell yeah,
because I can't just go from like fucking like a lot of hair to nothing. Because then it just looks like I have like fur diapers on my arm. You know what I mean?
It's so crazy you say that. That's next level.
Like
that's
I
when
have
you're really
like I have to fade it. in, like from here. Like
Wait,
I'll leave the
wait,
chest, but it's the back and shoulders I got to get rid of.
Before like the hot towel at your barber, you're like, yo, listen, I'm gonna lift my shirt up. We're gonna pull this fucking drape up. I need you to shape up my back. And he's like, respect, got you.
Steve,
Yo.
so I actually have thought about this because of like my situation. Listen,
Yes,
I've
and Matt's.
thought of exactly like guys like Matt and myself. So I've actually thought of, and I'm sure that this exists, but an
Body
actual
trimmers?
male grooming
Hell yeah.
place, like because like you can't walk into a barber shop and be like, yo, start, you know,
Dude,
3 to a
Start
5
at
on
my
leg.
shoulder blades.
But like if you had an actual place,
a male body hair
a
grooming
male
place. Yeah.
grooming, a
I
male
would
grooming,
fucking-
like a body, like
I
you
would
go
live
in,
there.
they say shower here, use these items, shower,
Yeah.
and then someone would come in and they
then
would do
just
their thing.
Hey, you fuckface. Start at my 5th vertebrae.
Yo, it's
Yo,
dude.
I would pay to do it. For real.
I would 100%
I'm
pay for
telling
that.
you,
I would
there's a market.
100%. Dude,
I want
another thing
20%.
for guys with hair like me, right? If I don't have a shirt that has a tight neck and I haven't had a haircut in a while, because my barber, former guest of the show, friend of the show, Billy the barber, Billy the butcher, Billy.
Is this the guy who fades your back? Is this the guy who fades your arms?
No, I have to do that myself. But like
Respect.
back here, right? Like from where my neck ends, my back starts. It's fucking all hair, right? So like if I don't cut it, like when he knows when he's doing the hot razor on the back, he like pulls my shirt like all the way back. You gotta get a couple inches down here, otherwise it's gonna start like my back hair will start poking out the back of my shirt. Like
I don't have the upper, but I will get it on my neck. It won't go on my upper back or nothing like that. Like my back hair is like lower back hair, but I don't get it up there.
Yeah, you got the.
But it does go
the
on my
happy
neck
trail
a
in the
good
back.
amount.
Yeah,
it does go on my neck a good amount.
Yeah. So all right, well that was hair talk. So either way, let's keep it going. So dude, so you're working as a dishwasher. This is also at a time like. So you had mentioned like in high school, and I said this in the B block of episode 1. I talked about like when we're in school, like, and you know, like you and me didn't have a ton of interactions. So we had enough where we were like cordial, and it would be like, but you would always be like happy and joking around and goofing off and kind of doing your thing and like just like carefree. But that really wasn't what was going down. High school was kind of like a rough time for you. Can you kind of talk about like the things that were going on behind the scenes while we were in school?
Yeah. So before I get into it, I want to put this out there that like there was a lot of pain that I caused a lot of people, like specifically my family, my friends, my loved ones. Like I have friends that I was really close with in high school that I distanced myself from and stuff like that. So everything I'm about to talk about, like anything, you know, I don't know how deep I'll go into it, but I take it very serious. And today my life is completely different. And I actually spend a lot of my time trying to work with people that have had similar struggles to myself.
Yeah.
And having experienced a way out of it, being able to meet them where they're at, which I'm uniquely equipped to do. So when you've been through certain things in life, you can sit across the table from another person who's been through it, and you can convey a message of depth and weight that can actually get through and resonate with that person in a way.
100%.
In a way that my friends, family, loved ones have tried for years to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
That's like part of this new way of life that I experience now. But
hell yeah.
In middle school, I struggled with depression pretty decently. And you know, I actually got prescribed to Adderall at a very young age. So something we didn't touch on was, so when I was at Hatfield Elementary, they actually took me. I remember I'm in 3rd grade and they're like, hey, they took me out of my classroom and they took me over to another classroom. And they were like, we want you to try to hang out and play with these kids and see how you like it. And basically what they were doing was they were allowing a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old to determine whether or not he wanted to partake in the gifted program. And I'm thinking, like, so I just told you a little bit about me. Like, I'm thinking these kids suck at dodgeball. They suck at kickball.
Yeah.
Like, we have nothing in common. I don't want to be here.
Yeah. They're a bunch of fucking noodles.
So I was like, I remember this like very distinctly. And I remember thinking, looking back on it, like, yo, this should not be the child's decision. Like, they should just been like, hey, Eric, you're excelling in certain areas. Here's your class.
100%.
And then I would have been like, all right, cool. I'll teach them how to play kickball and dodgeball.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever.
Like you'll work with them. Yeah.
So that happened to me. So eventually what happened is I'm in classrooms with people and I'm catching on the curriculum extremely quick. And then I'm also like Justin was talking about earlier, like how I'm funny and stuff, like moving around a lot. My two ways to fit in with it, like the first thing I was going to do is be smart and quick-witted and say something to make people laugh. Because if I can make everybody in the classroom laugh, especially the teacher, we're good. Right. And I can identify with that.
Yeah.
And then I would also do the same thing with sports. But eventually I got prescribed to Adderall. And it was
how old were we talking when I
was like probably 15-ish, 14, something like that. Maybe 15, 16. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
And they put me on Adderall and I'm already a hyperactive kid. Like I'm an extremely hyperactive kid. And I wasn't sleeping for days and days and days. And eventually what happened is I crashed from that. And I remember just feeling like extremely suicidal. I was extremely depressed. So, you know, my mom and my family didn't know what to do with me. You know, Kevin's excelling in sports and all this other stuff. I'm experimenting with like drinking and smoking weed. And here I am, I'm like overwhelmed and completely depressed and just in this state of mind where I'm hopeless. So I went to like, I think went to like Horsham Clinic or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so they could look at me and like give me a psychological evaluation, like what's going on with you. And there was a lot of stuff that I never addressed as a kid and all this other stuff. But, you know, they try to prescribe me like medications. But again, like I'm drinking on the weekends, maybe on some of the weekdays and experimenting with other things. And like that combination, that cocktail was not good. So when I went to school and like my home life got so we were talking about my home life, like I caused a lot of chaos and havoc and there was uncertainty and I was just a lot of energy to be around because of the way that my mind works. And then also just not being like grounded. So like I caused my family an insane amount of pain, like to a degree where they were like, yo, like you can't even like, you know, I was like 16 and like my family's just like, yo, like honestly, like please just don't even come here right now. Which was crazy because it'd be like my siblings were there and stuff like that. So like some of this stuff was going on and it's kind of a sensitive subject to talk about because my family is so prominent in the area. So, you know, it's important for me to like touch on it. But also without putting down anybody or anything like that. Like I was just a mess of a human being. And this was going on. So, but when I would go to school, the home life wasn't there. Like I didn't have to worry about like anything that was going on at home. And it's like my friends are my friends. And it's just like we're gonna joke around, we're gonna have fun. And I didn't really focus or take school too serious. I didn't take sports serious in high school at this point in my life either. But what did happen is that there were effects produced by drinking and doing drugs, and it worked incredibly well, you know. So like it worked differently in me than some of my friends. Let's just say that, because people weren't drinking the way that I was drinking, and people weren't obsessing over drinking the way that I was drinking. And I went down. So as I got out through high school and things like that, I went as far down that rabbit hole as you could go. And I got into some really dark places as well. I mean, in high school, I had some, you know, some suicidal situations. And like I said, I mean, I put my family in really horrible places. And it got worse. It got significantly worse out of high school. But yeah, in high school, people saw me. I'm happy as can be. I loved school. I thought it was great. I loved all my people and stuff like that in my classrooms and stuff. But realistically, I think a lot of people that knew me looking at me in high school, they were like, Eric has I had no sense of direction. There was no looking at me and being like, yeah, he's going to go to college and like, you know, work, like live this regimented life and excel. That was not my course. That was not my path. But it's all fascinating. I mean, I don't know if you got any more questions about it. I kind of skipped over it, but I mean, serious things going on in high school as far as like that partying lifestyle. And I think it's a huge thing. Like when I see kids now, I think it would be great to mentor kids. So anybody's kids that I see that are that age, I try to give them that sense of direction. And you know, my life's pretty good right now. And it's something I keep in the back of my mind. Like if I get positioned to really reach out to some kids in like a deeper way, like a more broad scale or something like that, other than just living my life differently, I would love to do it, especially at that age, you know, with like 12 to 18. when men are becoming men.
Yeah.
And just try to guide them and kind of school them to some of the things that were going on. Because to me, I was just trying to be cool, you know.
Yeah.
There were some kids, like Steve said, in our neighborhood. It was kind of like we had the spot, you know. People went back there and they did their thing. The difference between that and a couple of my friends was that something different was going on in me than was going on in them. They were like partying, chill, doing their thing. To me, there was like a different thing going on.
Do you think at times like you were living a life of pain and kind of searching for an escape in a way, and like this is where you found it, or you just wanted to like you said before, one of the things you enjoyed about sports is the constantly challenging yourself and seeing how far you can take it and seeing how far you can go. And was that where you were getting like when you were like getting this fix also? And like, I'll tell you, like you're saying with the mentoring thing, I am in a unique position where at the gym, like the kids I teach boxing to, like there's a couple of them that they're younger. And like, I do try to tell them like, look, man, you're going to party, you're going to have fun. If you're going to dedicate to this, that stuff, you know, like there'll be its time and place, but just don't be a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like, you can do that stuff and have fun, but don't be fucking stupid about it. Right? Like do this and don't waste your time doing this and do this kind of stuff. But for you, when you're there, right? Like I remember, like, I know for me, especially like in teenage years, right? Like it was tough not to do drugs. And one of it is because like I didn't want to be lonely, right? Like if I wasn't doing drugs, I'd fucking have no one to hang out with. Like everyone's fucking doing shit. You know what I mean? Like it was tough not to, right? Even though like people are trying to be athletes and stuff like that, there was still like no way of getting out of it. Also like, you know, like you're awkward. So maybe this mellows you out, or maybe like a chick will dig it or whatever. Right. But like your self-confidence is so low, and like you kind of need these things that will, I don't know, kind of make you feel, I don't know, more adjusted, more confident kind of things. Like what were you, do you know, like back then, or maybe going forward, like what were you kind of searching for when you were doing this stuff?
So like I said before, like I drank essentially because of the effects produced by alcohol. Like I know that about myself. So like it worked for me. It just worked for me a lot better than it did for other people. So like if I was dead sober and there was a party or a game or something like that, and like when I would drink, there would be a calmness about me. And I was like, this is how every normal human being feels all the time.
Right.
And in order for me to be here, order for me to be here, this is what I need. And so like once I had that experience with it, not even knowing I was having that experience, I just knew it was like, oh, I like this, you know? And once I had that experience, my mind would obsess over it. Because I was like, oh, okay, now I'm a regular human. Now I can interact with people and genuinely have fun and laugh and smile. So I don't know if it was necessarily an escape. I feel like I was escaped in my norm, and that was like a connection. So it was like a reverse of like an escaping experience. It was more so like once I drank a little bit, I felt connected. I felt good. Like everybody's my best friend. I can dance better. I can do this better. Everything.
Yeah.
You know, the music sounds better.
Yeah. You got some more confidence to be funny and make jokes, and you're making people laugh, right? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I really, there was a lot of times when I made an ass of myself. Like I said, like I caused a lot of people, like really good people, harm, even just in high school. Like I said, like not even progressing forward out of high school. There was like a lot of good people in my life, and we would be in a situation where it was like, oh, we're kids in high school, we're going to have a few drinks. And next thing you know, I can't really control it. You know, I'm just doing something a whole different level. And they're like, what is going on with you?
You were the one at the party always like taking it up. Yeah.
I did some things like that I was ashamed of big time, you know, that were unfortunate, where people just kind of distance themselves. And it's not because they didn't like me. It's because like, if I drank, I was just going to do something, you know? Yeah.
I had a buddy like that who would really push the limits. I saw him once. He beer bonged 151. He beer bonged 9 shots of 151, but Bacardi 151. He beer bonged it twice. 9 shots, so 18 shots total. He beer bonged it. NDub was there. He knows who I'm talking about.
He did it once, and then and we're all like, damn, you shouldn't have done that. And he goes, what, you don't think I could do it again? And we're like, nobody said that.
No, and no one wants you to either. And like, I remember my brother Tom, like he just kind of upended it into the beer bong, and Tom was like, whoa, before you do this, I want you to know what you're doing. And he can't, like, he legit like scooped them all out, like all the 151, like, dude, this is 9 shots you have in here. And if you know what I mean? He's like, fucking let's go. And he did it. And then he would turn into like a noodle. And I remember, like, I think Justin, you're like, dude, he's passed out. I was like, just make sure he's asleep on his stomach so he pukes, he doesn't choke. You know what I mean? Like, and then that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and like, you know, like that's kind of like how you were doing, like living the game back then, right?
I'm sorry, I was drinking water.
It's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had similar experiences. And I'm sure if we asked around, people are gonna be like, oh yeah, he did this. And it wasn't like so like once I started drinking, it wasn't like a mental thing that I could be like, oh, this is stupid or anything like that. Like that craving for more.
Is this like a switch kind of flip?
I had no power against it. Yeah, it's like once I started drinking, I had no power against like logic or reason or like morals or anything like that. It was pretty much like, yeah, the trigger went off, it's over. And then when I wasn't drinking, again, like I said, I would just obsess because my brain held it at such a high value. My brain was like, let's get on. Yeah. When are we gonna get on? We smoking before or after school, you know? Whose parents are going away this weekend?
Yeah.
Who's 21 that I helped me stash Kettle One underneath my futon.
Yeah.
Those futons were big in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Love a good futon.
There's crackhead Danny in North Wales, who was older than all of us and would go to the bar and buy us beer. Shout out crackhead Danny. I'm pretty sure he's dead, but whatever.
Shout out, fan show, listener show. So
yeah, I definitely had those experiences, and I've had significantly worse experiences as things progressed. But in high school, I was having those experiences, and as a result of that, I distanced myself from people because they weren't going to let me drink the way I wanted to drink, and they distanced themselves from me because it was hard to watch. You know, it's hard to be around.
So okay, so then even like you notice you're like, did you notice you were having these issues, or in high school, or you're just like, oh fuck this, they don't know what they're talking about, kind of thing?
There was only, I'm not going to say a name. I mean, people like kind of said it to me briefly, but like one of my closest friends, I won't say his name, in high school, actually, and I'll never forget this. He actually like had a heart to heart with me.
Oh,
where he was like really upset, and he's like, dog, he's like, something's going on with you that's like not, he's like, there's something different going on with you that you're struggling with.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But he said it to me, and I'll never forget it. I mean, it was one of the most powerful things I ever experienced in my entire life. Where like he's looking at me like his best friend, you know, we're like amazing friends, and he just knows like there's nothing I can do to sway this guy from going down the path that he's going down. He knew it, I knew it, and it was just like this thing where it's just like an understanding, like, you know. So
are you still friends with him to this day?
I mean, I consider us friends till the day we die. I haven't talked to him in a long time. And it's this is like thing that like I would like to reach back out and just see how, you know, like as far as I'm aware, he's doing pretty good and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just went its course, and I spent years of being so ashamed of myself and just not in a position to really be a good friend. And I knew that about myself for a long period of time. I just was not in a position to be a genuine good friend to people. So I was like, why would I even go out of my way to like resubmerge myself in someone's life when all I am, to be honest, was a burden. I was a sick person who was struggling big time. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, man, dude, shout out for them for having the courage to do that too. That's a good friend. That's a good friend.
Yeah, dude. There was quite a few of them too. Yeah, but that conversation never left me.
Nice. So good. I mean, glad that you like that. I mean, it's tough to have those experiences, but I'm glad that you remember that and see it for what the value it really held. So let's keep it moving. So like, let's say like at this point you're in your 20s and you're a butcher, right? And you're working at like a Capital Grill and a Whole Foods, and you know, like you started as a dishwasher there, and then you were moved up to a butcher and all that stuff. So what kind of like how were you living at this point? Like, were you working and partying and like doing the thing? Like, what was going on?
So this would be
like your 20s,
early 20s. Yeah. So basically, college wasn't really an option for me. Like I got into college and it wasn't really something that could, there was two things with it. First of all, I was a mess of a human being. Like I said, I had no structure or like sense of direction as to what I was doing with my life. And I also didn't know what I wanted to do with my life as well, because I've never really had the stability to look at life and say, what do I want to do with my life?
Yeah.
And I didn't believe in just dumping money out the window. So it's like this mutual breakup between me and the educational system, where I was like, all right, we're just going to part our separate ways. And I went about living my life. And
agreed.
It was cool because last year I was able to call up the whatever federal loan company, and they're like, you owe us 11,000. And I was like, see ya. You know, and I was very fortunate, very fortunate, you know, and it could have been worse, where I was sitting there pretending to be a student, pretending to be someone who was serious about life at that time. And it's not because I didn't care, it's because I was just caught up in the mix. But so
my sister, she went to Penn State and changed her major 8 times in the first 2 years of college. So just basically wasted $100,000. Right. Or at that point it's probably 60,000, but still. So
it's a big, and I mean, and now look, I had friends that in high school, they were like, I'm going to this college, and I'm like, well, you're going to do fine, you know, because they just had that structure, and they just had that, they had that in their nature. But yeah, I mean, like I was pretty much like picking up random jobs and stuff like that. And I was involved with the judicial system at this time of my life. I went further down that rabbit hole that we touched on earlier, into all kinds of different avenues and things. But I was living in Norristown on Main Street. And I remember, I think I was working somewhere full time, and I can't remember where I was working, but I remember I just wanted to pick up part-time work. And I didn't know that Capitol Grill was like a nice establishment. Like I wasn't really familiar with it. I just knew it was behind the King. It was behind the King of Prussia Mall. It was about to open, and they were hiring a dishwasher. So now something about me is that I've had numerous places, and it was just like an easy thing. I'm like, dishwashing, it's cool. I can do it. I don't mind it. I actually enjoy it. And they'd be like, you can be a sous chef. We'll pay you more money. And I would deny it. I would say, no, like I'd honestly just like to keep the most simple, like all I know is like, this plate's dirty. I got to get it clean, and I can do that. And I don't have to worry about anything else. And most of the time you're letting me listen to my own music, and I'm just rocking out clean and stuff. So like, I didn't mind it. It was just like a very calming thing.
You had your iPod shuffle going.
And so I actually went to that interview. I wore a suit and tie.
Nice.
And I wore a suit and tie for the dishwasher position.
Love it.
And they gave me the job, and they were like, look, we haven't really officially opened yet. We could use some help here. I was like, cool, like I'm here to work. Like, what do we got to do? So we were setting up the kitchen and stuff like that. And I was really good at doing the dishes. So it was funny. They had this one guy who's a manager there. And so I got the first ever, if anybody knows about the Capitol Grill, they give you gold stars. I got the first ever gold star at the King of Prussia location. And
nice.
There's only like maybe 50 Capitol Grills, and there might be more now, but back then I think there was about 50 in the nation. And but they made me, that manager at the time made me the lead dishwasher, which I thought was funny because like these other guys, like one guy was Greek. He was really cool, but he's like an older guy, like 45. And then there's like me, and like at this time in my life, like I'm still not like I'm still not living a perfect life. And then there's like 2 Spanish guys, but they gotta like call me and the scheduling and stuff like that. It was weird. I'm like, lead dishwasher, like I guess I'll do it, but like what is this? And so I was really good at doing that. And the butcher that they had at the King of Prussia location, something happened to him. I don't even remember what happened to him. He might have quit or something, or he wasn't cut out for the job. And I remember they came back to me and they were like, do you know anything about cutting meat? I was like, what?
I know a lot about beating.
I was just gonna say, he's like, I'm a master beater. Yeah, I can beat some meat.
I'll tenderize the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So when they said this to me, I literally wouldn't know. Like, if you took like a sirloin, a Delmonico, a porterhouse, a filet mignon, I wouldn't know what any of that was. Literally would have no clue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know anything about like kitchens. Like, I'm the guy that's eating like cold chicken patties out of the freezer. I'm not you guys. You guys are making like amazing food from scratch.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm just not that guy.
Yeah. I eat Pop-Tarts every day. It's a whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, you guys want to and they're like, well, we think you'll be good at it because you're very fast and you're very precise. So within like a couple months, like they took me back and they started training me. And then like they call it a butcher, but realistically you're a meat cutter. Butcher makes me sound like you could bring me a deer. I'm like, yeah, no problem, kid.
It's Look, I'm gonna skin it, I'm gonna gut it, and I'm gonna turn it into jerky.
What do you want me to do with the tail of the deer, kid?
Yeah,
It's not. It was you're really a meat cutter, but they call it a butcher and stuff like that. And I did that for like a year and a half. It was a pretty cool job. It was in a freezer. I sit back there and I would cut the meat. The funniest thing was, so I was like a big fan of like 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie, Tupac, like all these rappers. And I was fully embedded in that whole
that was
scene.
the gimmick then, though. That was the gimmick back then.
So one thing that was cool about that position was that I could listen to my music, and they actually ended up giving me quite a few other positions. So I did all the inventory for them. So like I said, Capital Grill brings in everything's from scratch that they do there. So they get these orders in constantly, and they got to make sure that everything's rotated in and out. If there's anything that's going bad, you get it out of there. So they made me the lead dishwasher. They had me doing the inventory. So anytime like they were jammed up in dishes, it'd be like a Saturday night or a holiday. They'd be like, Eric, we need your help. So I'll go out there and help them. But then I was doing the inventory for them, and then I was cutting meat for them as well. And
look at you.
I would have my rap music on, and so I always told them. So sometimes they would do a walkthrough. It'd be like this nice family. They're coming out. They're taking their kids. Like, you want to see the it's like a steakhouse. So like, you want to see the butcher?
You want to meet the guy who beats the meat?
Yeah.
So they're like, would you like to see the butcher? And like this nice dressed family would open up the freezer door, and I'm blasting PD Crack.
Many men.
And
you're like, I got my thick, but my click on my drum.
And I'm using a bandsaw, and it's like, yeah, and I hear the door open, and I just see this little family, these kids dressed up all nice, and I'm just blasting.
Like, it's
that's why I fucked your bitch.
Yeah, the beef, whatever slab of meat was on the bandsaw, zing, right to the wall, and I just immediately reach for the speakers. I turn them down, but that was a cool job.
Nice.
There was some weird stuff that happened, not with me, but one of the employees was actually stealing the tenderloins, and they were stealing.
Shout out Patbull.
Yeah,
listen,
smart.
This
dude.
was crazy.
Yeah.
This got so crazy. So again, I'm not like doing well in life at this time, right? And I'm not going to go into details, but like my life wasn't amazing by any means, and I'm still involved with some stuff. And so they start. I weigh all the meat. So like I take a tenderloin, I put it on the scale, things come in, I have all the measure, like all the weights. So like we would get all this stuff in, and I'm taking the weights down, and I'm documenting everything. So I start cutting everything, and I'm like, my yields are off for whatever reason. And I was really good with my yields at first. Like my numbers were great. So like out of all the Capital Grills, I was like a good butcher. Yeah. And all of a sudden my numbers are off. I'm like, what's up with this? I was like, something's going on here. So I brought it up like nonchalantly, like, yo, like I'm cutting the same way I always cut. Something's up with the yields. It turns into this entire investigation where we're getting orders in. I have to take everything out, weigh it one by one, document it with the head chef or the sous chef supervising me. It's taking like an extra 5 hours every day to do this stuff. Then if I have to use the bathroom, they had a padded lock on the freezer. So I have to actually walk out, tell the head chef, he locks it with the padded lock. I'll take a piss and then come back like, can I get back to my workstation?
Oh my God.
It was this entire thing, dude. It was absolutely insane. They're like looking at me like, are you stealing tenderloins? And I'm like, no, I'm eating them right in front of your face. Like, I do like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the butcher. Like, I walk in.
Oh, dude, that's the best.
But yeah, it was this crazy high stress thing. Yeah. Everybody was like accusing each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I left that job on bad terms. I was a great employee, but how I left was not respectable. I walked out on a holiday. Let's just say that.
Whoa.
Yeah,
was it Mother's Day?
I don't know, and honestly,
all right,
could have been.
Number one restaurant day of the year.
So there were 3 people there that knew how to cut steaks. It was the head chef, sous chef, and me. And then I was also doing the inventory and other stuff like that. And look, again, I wasn't like spiritually fit by any means at this time in my life, but I was doing a lot of work, and I was also getting, I was dealing with all this crazy like investigation of these steaks and stuff like that. And I asked him, I said, like, yo, can I get a raise, man? Like I'm still making dishwasher wages. Like they give me like a 50-cent raise. I was like, yo, man, like the only other people that can do my job are the head chef and the sous chef at this place. Like, come on, can I get a little bit?
Cut a brother off.
Yeah, I got resentful and walked out.
That's how you do it. You got to take care of your employees. Otherwise, they don't want to be there. That's 100%.
Damn right.
That's on them. Yeah. That's not on you. That's on them. Right. They didn't respect your work, and that's on them. So, okay. So, go ahead.
Then I went and I worked at Whole Foods. Okay. Which was a cool job. Yeah. Different type of work environment than I've ever worked in before. So I had the experience of quote being the butcher. So I was familiar with that, and I knew that Whole Foods always looked like a decent place to work. I heard good things about it, and I went there. So I worked in the meat department, and it was funny because they're looking at me, and they're like, "Come on, man! Like you don't know how to cut meat." And I did. I showed them I did a little bit. Yeah, they're like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Let me show you how the bandsaw works. Faggot.
Actually, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So the funny thing is, Bart. They were like, you don't know anything about this, blah blah blah. And now, mind you, Whole Foods. There's a lot of people that come up from the city, but the culture is awesome of Whole Foods. Like very down to earth people, straight shooters, awesome culture of working at Whole Foods. The people are great. But I said to them, I was like, yeah, I could take the bandsaw apart and clean it. I was like, do you take the band off? And they're like, take the band off. We don't even know how to do that. And I was like, oh, hold up. I took the band off, was able to take the whole band of the saw and turn it into a circle. And they're just looking at me like, what the heck? They're like, you were serious? I'm like, yeah, why would I lie about working at the Capitol Grill? Like, I don't know. But that was cool life experience, man. I mean, they were both, the Capitol Grill was like more than I understood it to be. It was a very professional place, amazing food. The people were very professional. It was a different level of work environment than I've ever been in before. And Whole Foods was extremely respectable as well, because something a lot of people don't understand about Whole Foods is old school Whole Foods. They have a mentality. So I've seen like employees at Whole Foods like get into it with customers, and they basically like the old school mentality of Whole Foods was, you shop here because we know what we're talking about. That's why you come here and you spend more money and deal. You know what I mean? Like we know what we're talking about. And some of those people were insanely smart as far as nutrition and stuff is concerned. They were really
dude,
good,
and they've been ahead of the game for a while.
I agree. Whole Foods fucks.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. They're big on like, they want to know. They want to know who has the best produce and the best poultry and the best everything.
Damn straight, Maddie.
Yeah. So okay, so let's keep it moving. So after you're done at Whole Foods, you start working as a senior account executive for an internet marketing firm. You're working in Center City at like the Public Ledger building, right? And you're working as kind of like a telemarketer. So you worked in this scenario, you worked in this area at a very unique time in your life, and you worked for a very unique boss. So can you kind of tell us what was going down here?
Did you say the name of this company yet or not?
No.
Okay, good. I'm not going to say it.
Don't. Yeah.
I will.
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
No, I said
because it puts me in an awkward situation. Like I have a lot of good respect with people, and like that's why like I'll never talk bad about the Capitol Grill or Whole Foods. Great establishments.
The only thing I said is that it was at the Public Ledger building.
That's fine. That's fine.
Which there's 600 companies in that building.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So this was a fascinating job. So actually, I can't even say how I got it because it'll just put it out there. But anyways, I got this job through someone I'm close to, and it's a senior account executive. But as with most jobs, especially in sales, something that I found is that you get all kinds of labels that make you sound super fly.
Yeah, that's office jobs in general.
But yeah, no. So it was senior account executive for an internet marketing firm, and like instead of SEO, we called it online reputation management, and it was a fascinating work environment. So at this time in my life, I was deeply involved in the streets of a certain section of Philadelphia. Let's just say like that. Yeah. Like I said before, like I went deep down the rabbit hole of like alcohol, drinking, drugs, and partying. Yeah. And so I get this job, and someone's trying to help me out. Like, hey man, like come work this job. I think you'll be decent at it. we're basically making cold calls to people and trying to sell them SEO, right? The environment, the work environment was this. I'm dressing in a suit and tie, taking a train or driving in to Center City, Philadelphia at the Public Ledger building.
Which is that what's
like
some
6th
landmark?
and Chestnut.
All
6th and
right.
Chestnut. Literally,
yeah.
my office looked out over the Liberty Bell.
Okay, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're really like old city-ish area, like down there. Okay, so you're getting all the way down there every day, and
Yep.
you're suit and tie, done up to the nines, looking professional, working in an office, and you go to this office, and what's going down?
What is the SEO first? What the fuck are you saying? I'm lost.
Search engine optimization.
Okay. Okay.
So like Google AdWords,
Like what we want to
you
be.
know.
Like when people Google working perspectives, we want to be the optimized. Like we want to be the
Okay.
optimal. We want to be the
Got
first thing. Because
Got
like almost 100% of people never go to the second page of a Google search.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, you're basically creating digital assets and then driving traffic through them, strengthening them so that Google's algorithms will pick up on that asset. So when people search for certain things,
Word.
to briefly summarize it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would walk
Beautifully
into this place and there's like, you know how they like, you go on a TV or like cable and it's like, it has like the music channels.
Yeah.
It would be like Tiesto radio or something like that, blasting, like absolutely blasting, so loud that when I was on some of my calls trying to be like a professional senior account executive, I would have to get up from my little like cubicle section and go walk down to like the other section of the floor to try to get away from the blasting techno music that was like insanely loud. We had all the so you could drink as many Red Bulls as you want. That was like one of the things.
No, it's Wolf on Wall Street.
Listen, I almost feel, and I don't even know, I feel like they like told us to watch that or like had us watch that. Like that was exactly what we're dealing with. That kind of environment, 100 million %.
Hell yeah.
And there's like, oh, you can have all the Red Bulls you want and all the like peanut butter crackers. They like the weirdest snacks. I was like, peanut butter. I was like, what's this, a daycare? Like, this is just bizarre to me. So it was crazy. There was like old time sales guys that looked like they stepped off of like Wall Street that were there. They're like old school. They're all cocky with their feet up and the tie on, and they're doing their deal. Then there's like me. I'm just trying to finagle somebody into buying this stuff. The prices were extremely inconsistent. He had like an algorithm we were supposed to develop their we called it a campaign out of, and the algorithm would like spit out the most ridiculous number. It'd be like, to sign up, it's $24,000, and then it's $12,500 every month after that. And then the people were like, wait, what? Like this was like early 2000s. So SEO and online reputation management wasn't that big at the time.
And Google wasn't as big as it, like,
It didn't run the world yet.
It kind of did. It was definitely on its way. But the funniest thing about this job was that, so when I first started working there, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I've been like vaguely trained and stuff like that. We did the little training. And in the lead system, they had like senators and things like that, like people that like worked in Washington, D.C. on there. And I didn't know this, but they were just like examples. So I didn't know that. So I actually was like pursuing it. And next thing you know, I'm like calling DC. I was like calling like some kind of representative's office, like a senator or something's office. This lady who had some personal stuff going on in her life. And I actually got through like 2 secretaries, and they're like, well, hold on, because I was just tricky with my wordplay. Like I would just call them by the first name. It would be like a senator. I'd be like, is Cindy there? You know, and they'd be like, who's this? And I would say it so confidently, like, what do you mean? Tell her Eric's on the phone. And then they would like push me through to the next person. And then they could, the owner of the company was actually listening to the phone calls. And one day he comes by, he's like, yo, who are you talking to right now? And I pointed to the screen, and he hangs up my phone. He's like, yo, he's like, you're not, he's like, dude, those were just examples. He's like, I didn't want you to say. I'm like, I could have closed that deal. Like, what are you talking about? You know how big this is? He's like, dude, like never call any like politician again.
Yeah,
like,
don't call any like high ranking official.
Like, but it was kind of crazy.
So this guy, your boss, he's blaring like so you're in an office setting, and I've been in a ton of them where like if you're like a loud person, people are kind of like annoyed by you in a way, like, you know, whatever, and like your cube mate can be whatever. But this guy, he's blaring like techno music at like the top, like as loud as hell, while you guys are making phone calls to clients, right, or potential customers, and like so loud that you have to leave your desk to continue the conversation, right? Like, why was he doing that? Are you allowed to say? If you're not,
Because he's a fucking idiot.
No. He was having some experiences.
Yeah,
he was having some experiences. All I could say, like, he was using the bathroom as much as I was. And that's not, you know what I mean? Like, you're not you're doing some stuff. And,
chopping it up in the bathroom.
Yeah, let's just say he was enjoying that techno music more than anybody else.
Yeah, he was really like absorbed by it.
He was seeing the techno music.
Yeah.
Which was an entire other like story. If anyone wants to hit me up directly, I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah, you can find him on his OnlyFans to hear the story.
Beating his meat like the butcher.
It was an interesting story with that guy.
So let's keep it going then. So from there, right, you become a project manager, right? And this is after going through like several trials and tribulations in your life, and while dealing with like all these internal demons and things like that. If you'd want to speak on them, that's fine. If not, it's not a big deal. And then now your brother gets you a job. Like you've been up and down, left and right with your demons, and you're starting to kind of find yourself and be clean and live a clean, healthy life. And your brother's like, hey, I got this job. Do you want to step up here? It's another sales job, right? Or another job in sales. And, you know, he wants to know if you want to step in and see how you can do. And how did that work out?
So at this time in my life, which this was a couple of years ago, I have been like up until that point, a couple of years ago, I have been trying to clean up my life, you know,
right.
So seeking help, trying to figure out how I can manage and control my life or what that's going to look like. And eventually I got involved with a program and people who live a certain way. And, you know, my life has been amazing. You know, I was able to finally surrender to something different and take some suggestions and be open-minded. And I had a degree of willingness that allowed me to experience some things. And I had little moments of success along the way.
Of like,
you know, like
breakthroughs here and there, right?
Breakthroughs here and there. And like, I try to like do it and then I have setbacks and I'm like, man, this is crazy. But my younger brother actually saw a change in me a couple of years ago. And basically was like, yo, man, like I got this job and it's crazy. And I think you'd be really, really good at it. And at this time of my life, I'm a little, you know, like, I'm like, okay, well, they're giving me a company vehicle, a company cell phone. Like that's a lot for me. I had to like pray about it. I had to like think to myself, okay, like this is a certain degree of responsibility. And I'm used to messing up every half a year, you know? So like, I have this fear inside of me, like, am I going to be able to go and pursue this? Like, what does this look like? So I had to pray that fear away. But yeah, I got involved with that company. You know, Alex trained me, they trained me and
Alex, your brother,
Alex, my younger brother. Yeah. So they trained me and I got involved.
Shout out young Zebluim.
Yeah, dude. And, you know, they trained me and kind of showed me this thing. And as soon as I saw what it was, which was like a lot of math, a lot of problem solving, a lot of talking to people and interacting with people, communication and organizational skills. I absolutely thrived. Alex was the #1 salesperson in the company before I got there. My first year there, Alex broke the company record the 1 month. Then I followed up and broke it the next month. I set all the company records in my first year
for sales. Wow.
Yeah. So the work that we got involved in.
So like you're saying, like going into it, you're nervous because like people like your brother's putting his neck on the line for you, getting you this hookup, and like you've had some situations before where you've let some people down, and you're just you don't want to let anyone down, and you don't want to like find yourself going back into the hole that you just really like really worked hard to climb out of. And in this situation, you would face your fear, right? And you would take it head on, and then you would find success when facing your fear. Did that help you like reaffirm and like reassure yourself as to like, okay, I'm doing the right thing here. I can do this. I can stay healthy. I can stay clean, and I can do this for myself, and I can make this work. Did success help motivate you to stay on the right path in that situation?
I've always been motivated by success to do the right thing and succeed in life. I'm very competitive. I've always wanted, and that actually was a curse to a certain degree because I was self-reliant for most of my life. So up to this point, all I know is self-reliance. Oh, we're down by 6. Let me get the ball. Give me I don't care. Give me the ball. Yeah. Anything like that, like very self-reliant, very like, that's just how I was. And yeah, a lot of people tried to help me, especially my family and people close to me, like up into throughout my 20s. And there was a ton of fear there. It was definitely a key component to confronting the fear and learning how to do that. But the first thing I had to do was realize that I couldn't live life on my own self-reliance, So I tapped into like a higher power. People had to break it down to me. I was raised as a Christian. So when people started talking to me about a higher power or God or this concept, this idea of this and what that looks like, I'm just immediately I go to my default setting, which to me was like I grew up Lutheran, So people broke it down to me at like a more simple, absorbable, like an easier way. They kind of simplified it for me, and so I started practicing that prior to this moment. So I started practicing getting involved with this new lifestyle and things like that. I had people like a fellowship of people that I affiliate with and people who mentor me. So I was already working on getting rid of other fears and things like that. So, but it was a key component to actually taking that leap and moving forward and getting involved with the company. And then once I did, like I said, I excelled, but it's a continual thing. Like still to this morning, I wake up, I go to my knees and I pray. I try to tap into a higher power than me because I tried to do this my own way or tried to rely on money or other people to help me through this my whole life. And it never worked out for me. And eventually I was open-minded to that other thing. And that's been working out great for me. So I still practice that.
Good for you.
Good.
And I could go into details about all this stuff. That job though, just to give you guys all an understanding of what that job is. So the niche industry that we were in, that we got involved in, and that I'm still in today is dealing with hail and wind damage on people's homes. So basically, we're a roofing, siding, and gutter company. And if a hailstorm or a windstorm occurs,
usually wind isn't covered in a normal policy, right? Like in a normal homeowner,
depending how good your agent is, it could be.
Like a standard homeowner's policy doesn't include wind. Don't you have to add it as an endorsement? Isn't that right?
Most policies actually have it.
Oh, all right.
Now the tricky thing is, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm very, very, very good at what I do. And there's a lot of, one thing to be mindful of is that everybody's policies are different. So you could have Erie insurance, your neighbor could have Erie insurance, and you could have completely different policies.
Yeah.
So when you get into the coverages and things like that, some companies also in this industry will give you like a cookie cutter answer. Like, oh, you got this damage, everything's getting bought. And that's not necessarily the truth. The other thing is knowing what's actually considered damage. So insurance companies are constantly looking for ways to minimize their out-of-pocket expense. Right. Now, someone like myself, if I come out, I do free inspections to determine whether or not it's justifiable to establish an insurance claim. If I feel that it is, and there's a couple of different factors, the degree of the damage, the insurance company that you have a policy with, and also what area you live in. So that actually can play a role to a certain degree with certain companies, because different adjusters have different territories and things like that. It's kind of weird. But, if I find it's reasonable to call in an insurance claim, like I could see a lot of people look at wind damage. They say, look, a missing shingle, wind damage. That's not necessarily the case. If a shingle is creased, that's considered wind damage. And what happens oftentimes is that shingles will get blown up, flap in the wind, and then actually resettle because they have that tar strip underneath. On a hot day, even though it got blown up in the winter from that windy winter storm, it'll go back down in the summer. It reseals, and it might stay resealed for the entirety of its life, which could be upwards of like 25, 30 years. When I inspect a roof, I'm looking for all of these little things. I can see little creases where I say, okay, this was flapping in the wind at one point. It's considered a damaged shingle. It's a fascinating industry.
Dude, insurance on a whole is absolutely fascinating. People don't know, like, I'm in insurance myself, and it is absolutely fascinating. And like, it is forever evolving, right? Like everyone now is eventually going to have what's like home cyber protection, or just like service line, or like home systems protection, right? Where you're going to have like a part of your insurance policy that covers all of your electronics, because eventually your house is going to be run by electronics, right? Like your security, your doorbell, your doors, your alarms, like your garage door, your everything is going to be run by electronics. And eventually it's going to go, if you have an electronic car, right? And then like like all these different types of things are going to all circle into one like aspect. So to jump ahead of that and stuff, like it's just to be said, insurance is a fascinating industry. I know it gets a bad rap because like some insurance agents, but it is really, really intricate, and it does have a lot of interesting things. So sorry, Eric, go ahead. So do you jump up on the roof and like climb the ladder, and you're looking at the houses, and like what's going on there?
Yeah, actually we do. I hop up on the roofs. The first thing I do is, it's like someone calls me like, hey, Eric, can you inspect my property? Or some people aren't even aware of the fact that insurance might cover some of the things on their property. Sometimes people call me like, can you give me an estimate for my roof?
Yeah.
And I'll say, yeah, sure. I'll stop out. I'll take a look at some things. And I'm always looking for the insurance angle, because it's, first of all, if it's something that this person's paying a lot of money for every month, and it's within their policy, it's justifiable. Second of all, it's less money for them, so I'm always trying to help people. I can't say take advantage, but literally they're paying every month to have that.
And like they don't know that they have these, like
they don't know they have the damage.
Yeah. And like they don't know that this is possible. Like they're paying for it and not using it. And you're kind of just smartening them up. Like, bro, like you can, like, this is all available to you for what exactly. Get your money's worth.
Like, this is what you pay for every month. People are like, man, you're making the rates go up. I'm like, if they have a problem with it, why don't they take it out of the policy coverage? Like when your agent signs you up, just say, you know what, you're not covered for hail and wind damage. But like they go that angle because they know it's one of the things that people need. People
sleep on. Yeah,
exactly. And the insurance companies, like I said, like I deal with insurance companies every day. Look, not everybody that works with an insurance company is bad by any means. I met great adjusters. Some of the companies are awesome to work with. Yeah. But in general, they're not looking to pay out. So I'll go out on inspect the property. I'll go out on inspect the property. I'll walk the perimeter. I'm very good at finding the damage by just knowing what to look for, how to look for it, everything like that. And then eventually I'll just set up my ladder real quick, go up on the roof. And I can do an inspection in like 5 minutes. Damn. It's really, really quick and easy for me. I know exactly what to look for.
Yeah.
I have special shoes that I wear if it's like a steeper slope roof.
The kitty cat claws?
Cougar paws.
Cougar paws.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then I'll take pictures. So if I find something that's wrong, I take a couple of pictures. People think that I'm taking the documentation for the insurance company. I do that, but that's typically on the later end.
Yeah. But you're taking documentation to present to the insurance, right? Okay.
No, not on my initial inspection.
Okay.
So what I actually do on the initial inspection, my big thing and one of the key components to my success is that I'm very big on educating the policyholder to what's actually going on, the entire process, because I don't want to sit there and be like that guy. It's just like call in a claim. Everything's destroyed on your house. Yeah. I'll actually present the information to them and educate them on the process and explain everything like very, very, very thoroughly. Yeah. As a result of doing that, first thing I do is if somebody else walks up to their house, and a majority of people in this industry are very like gung ho, like fast sales, boom, boom, boom. They're just like, absolutely not, because Eric sat here for 2 hours explaining everything to me thoroughly. So now you just sound like an idiot. You know?
Yeah.
And
it
the
helps
other
them
thing
to
is,
point out like the scammers and
yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, I want people to be comfortable in this process. I'm not trying to like use smoke and mirrors to trick somebody into calling an insurance claim. And I also want them to have an active say and involvement in the process as well. So like I'll show them what I'm looking at and just educate them on what it is. And then I'll have like a mutual conversation with them, like, hey, look, I think it's a good idea. That's my suggestion, but like you can do whatever you want. And sometimes people don't do it. And then sometimes people are calling me in Pennsylvania. You have 1 year to establish and file an insurance claim in regards to hail and wind damage. Some companies are only 6 months, like 180 days. So, I walk them through all that. If they want to file an insurance claim, I'll help them with that process. I know a lot of these adjusters. I know a lot of these third-party guys. So there's times when an adjuster gets a claim across his desk and he sees it's me. He's like, yo, Eric, email me the pictures.
Yeah. So they know, he knows too that like you've worked with so many adjusters and they know like when you're sending something in, it's real, right? Like you're not trying to send in some bullshit. So he's like, all right, well, this guy's not going to lie. Fucking throw it in. What do you got? Kind of thing.
I'm ridiculously honest. I'm very honest. I'm very straightforward.
Honesty is the best policy process. When it comes to sales. And I think that you'll find this with most of the best salesmen. Honesty is the best policy. Honest and educate. I think you have it right. And I think that's part of your success, man. And I'm happy, dude. I'm really happy for you, man. And I, we've crossed paths a couple times in the years since high school, not too many, but I, to see you go from where you were to where you are now, I couldn't be fucking happier for you, man. And I'm so proud of you and happy that you were able to figure it out and that you're fighting with your that you're using your faith to get back, and you have a wife and you're building a family and a life, and it took a lot of courage and a lot of guts and a lot of a lot of hardship to get through to where you want to be. My dad had a saying. He would say that everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to go through hell to get there. Right. And you legit had to go through hell to get to where you're at now, living your best life, being strong, being healthy, and being right in your mindset. And couldn't be more happy for you. And just really thankful for you to come on and share your story. I know that we're coming to the top of time, and usually we're all on the same page of this, but if you'd be willing, we would love to have you back on the show.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I knew this was going to be this way. I knew we were going to come up against the time, even in the second segment. I just knew, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on.
Yeah. But, and we could even have a whole show on just getting deeper into your story. You know what I mean? Getting deep into the struggles.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about it, man. And I've been through a lot. There's been a lot of stuff that's going on, and my life is incredible today. Like you kind of touched on, I just bought a house. I just got married. My wife is pregnant with identical twin boys. I'm actively involved with my friends today and building my friendships back. I have great friendships in my family as well. And
you're doing all that living clean.
Yeah, and I'm the director of operations now with another company that my younger brother started, doing what I did at the last company. So I'm overseeing that whole company.
Do you want we can shout out where people can contact you? We'll have your contact info in the description for if someone wants to reach out to get an inspection done by you. Is that cool?
Yeah, 100% people can do that. More importantly than my line of work and everything like that is if anybody knows somebody that's struggling with any kind of alcoholism, or even if you think maybe it's alcoholism or substance abuse, suicidal tendencies and things like that, I would be more than happy to talk to anybody. And furthermore than that, I have an entire community of people, like a fellowship of great people that I could plug them in with and introduce them to a new way of life. I've overcome a lot of stuff. I didn't really go into details, but anybody that or if you have a loved one, a friend or family member or something like that, absolutely hit me up and I can point them in the right direction. If not, walk side by side with them myself.
Yeah. No, dude, and we'll have all the information where people can contact you and reach out. And dude, you're you're doing a great thing, like giving back. And I know it's because partially like you want to help and like you want to give back to support and make the world a better place. And that's a great thing. And the world needs people like you. And I mean, I'm just happy you're on our side, pal. So
I'm happy you guys are on my side.
Hey, right back at you, buddy. So we're coming to the top of time. Before we get out of here, Eazy-E, anything you want to say to the Eazy-E faithful out there?
Oh man. Listen, guys, if you have poison ivy, take the proper steps to getting rid of that ASAP.
Yeah. And don't be whacking your stem.
Don't be a meat beater.
Yeah. Yo, all right then. Well, strong stem. Anything you want to say before you get out of here and blaze one with old Tommy?
Yeah, listen, this shit got real at the end, and I'm gonna be real with it. There's very few men on this planet that I love like a brother. Eric's one of them. Like, I'm real close with his family. I love this kid to death. Like, he'd be my own blood. Yeah. And me and Eric kind of walked through some tough shit. Same type of story, with some, And I'm not a religious person. I mean, I was raised Catholic, but I'm not a great religious person. But I do believe, like, in the stupid phrase that God only gives his toughest battles to his toughest soldiers. Yeah. And to know some of the shit that, you've overcome is, it's fucking inspiring, to be honest. Yeah. It's fucking inspiring to know a guy can, be as high as he is now and, keep moving forward no matter what life deals to you, no matter what kind of shitstorm you got. There was never a moment where it was like, it's a pity me or a pity that. It was like, nah, just get through it, keep moving, keep your nose to the fucking ground and keep going. It'll get better. Yeah. And, for people out there struggling and shit, like you said, it can happen. I know the statistics suck, but the shit does happen. You just got to want it,
Yeah. Agreed. And it's honestly, man, it is like, it's a very inspiring story. I couldn't agree more.
100% agree.
Yeah. So Jalen Dub, that's great of you to say, Steve. And I think everyone agrees with that, Eric. And you should be very proud of what you've done. And it's an amazing accomplishment. And I know
not to breeze lightly over it, but there was points in my life where I was at the lowest points. One of the few people that I was there was Bart, So that's the type of person you're dealing with.
Yeah. It does take sometimes, like, you do need to focus on yourself, but having the wherewithal to use that time and help others, that's just, it's inspiring stuff, man. Inspiring stuff. You're a great person. And Jalen Dub, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm right on board, man. Anytime I see Bark, I'm happy, yo. And I've struggled the same as most of these kids, yo. And it's an example setter, and I appreciate the fucking all of them.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Love it. Nice. Well, all right. Well, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied today by Jalen Dub, Justin Richardson, Strong Stem Steve Cabot, and our guest for Eazy-E Part 2 was Eric Zebluim. You can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can hang out with us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can join us on Twitter and TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And please go to Leave Me the Hell Alone and like and subscribe so my wife just stops giving me shit about this. This has been the Working Perspectives Podcast. Thanks for listening. Stick around for the ad read. Thanks. See ya. Do you have a message or a story inside of you that you've been waiting to tell? Have you always dreamed of writing a book, but are intimidated by the complexities of the book publishing world? Perhaps you want to use a book to launch your public speaking or consulting career. If so, please reach out to Scott & Bell Publishing, located right here in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Scott & Bell Publishing handle all genres and authors with all experience levels. Scott & Bell Publishing gives authors 100% creative freedom and a higher royalty split. They can be found at www.skotbell.com. That's www.s as in Sam, K as in Kite, O as in October, T as in Tom, B as in Boy, E as in Edward, L as in Larry, L as in Larry.com. That's Scott & Bell Publishing, where the authors go.